Hey everyone, this is Clinton.
And this is Dalton.
And this is the LA2 Wrestling Podcast.
So without further ado, let's get ready to podcast!
Welcome back to the LA2 Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about all wrestling from the past, present, and future. I am one of your co-hosts, Clinton. With me, as always, is Dalton. On this episode, we have some special guests. With us is our music engineer, Chance. Say hello, Chance.
What's up, my dudes?
And a first-time guest, and someone we've not mentioned on the podcast before, our good friend Max, who's also a big wrestling fan. Say hello, Max.
Hey, everyone.
All right, so we are talking about something kind of different on the podcast, isn't that right, Dalton?
Yeah, and something that, honestly, I didn't think we would be talking about because, well, didn't think it'd happen.
Right. Well, I mean, it is a big, this is a big thing in wrestling right now.
Yeah, unfortunately. Listen, I crap on, it's AEW. It's something specific about AEW. I crap on AEW a lot sometimes. I crap on WWE as well, and really GCW I shit on, absolutely. But, AEW, man, Double or Nothing was this past weekend. As of recording, it is June 4th, so it was this past weekend on the 29th of May. And it was not good. It wasn't good at all.
Yes, as Dalton was saying, we are talking about All Elite Wrestling this week. We are going to be talking about their most recent pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, and some of the events that followed, such as AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage. Now, Dalton, of course, as we've heard, he isn't the biggest fan of All Elite Wrestling, but Max, you're a pretty big fan of AEW, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I've been watching AEW since basically the start of it. I've always been a pretty big fan. It's a big change, big difference between that and WWE, and I feel like it puts life back into wrestling compared to more story. It doesn't have as many storylines compared to actual wrestling.
It's more independent, almost. It's like
a major.
It's like uber
independent.
indie.
Yeah, exactly. Now something also pretty interesting about this this episode, because of course Dalton, he's not the biggest fan of AEW.
Well, let me clarify. I'm not the biggest fan of AEW's fans.
Okay.
Just like I'm not the biggest fan of WWE's fans. I feel like it's they go too hard, kind of like how Star Wars or stuff like that, where the fan base is just like they're insufferable, and that's how I view AEW and WWE hardcore fans.
All right, MJF.
Well, actually, speaking of MJF, as Chance was talking about, we actually are going to bring up kind of the stuff that's been going on with him in All Elite Wrestling. He's been probably the biggest name of the week so far, I'd say. Him and CM Punk, which we're always going to talk about.
Arguably, MJF is the biggest name in the last couple months just because of his situation.
Correct, which is something we're going to bring up in a little bit here. But as we were saying before, Dalton, he let us know about his how he feels about AEW and AEW fans. As we were talking about, Max is a big AEW fan, but Chance, you don't know that much about AEW. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I don't really know it as much as I've been, or as much as I've been informed by Clinton and Max and Dalton. I know a little bit more about WWE and...
Right. I mean, I understand entirely. Don't get me wrong.
If you know one thing because you've grown up with it or you've watched that's the only thing you know, it's kind of hard to transition to something else.
But even though Chance, he's not the biggest AEW fan and knows too much about it, he knows a good bit about the MJF situation, which we are going to talk about after we begin with the first thing that happened this week, AEW's pay-per-view Double or Nothing. So the issue with this, and the reason we decided we were going to do an episode on this, is because that pay-per-view gave us some pretty mixed emotions, and a little bit, maybe not even mixed, maybe a little bit towards the not liking it as much, which is different because, I mean, every AEW thing I've watched, I've not disliked all that much. It's all been pretty good. I mean, especially Max, you usually enjoy most of their stuff.
Yeah, like I've watched the past, I think, 6 AEW pay-per-views. Like, I've bought them all.
Yeah.
And I've never really been disappointed in it until, like, this past Double or Nothing. It's just like it's a letdown compared to what their normal standards are. And there's so much potential in that card just for them to let it die like that.
Right. Well, that's something that we're going to bring up. We're kind of just going to go through each match, and we're just kind of going to be brief with it. And if we need to take a second to talk about them, we will. But we're just going to go through each one because, of course, there's build-up and there's storyline to each match. And we're going to make sure we're going to get into it and just go match by match. So, Dalton, I know you have the card up as we were talking about it. What is the first match on the Double or Nothing pay-per-view?
Well, technically, it was pre-show.
Oh, you had the pre-show,
the
yes.
buy-in, right?
Yeah, the buy-in.
Yes.
Yeah, they say buy-in for everything, though. It was Hook and Danhausen versus Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. A 5-minute, 20-second match with the winners being, as they dubbed them, Hookhausen.
Correct. Now, even though Dalton doesn't sound too excited talking about this,
because I don't like Hook.
He doesn't like Hook, who's an up-and-coming AEW wrestler, the son of Taz,
He's
the
son
ECW
of Taz,
legend.
And he has the most punchable face in AEW behind Sammy Guevara.
We're going to speak about Sammy Guevara in a little bit, actually.
Yeah, going down the card, but...
Yes. Well,
Astrid pisses me off.
It's actually kind of funny because as we were talking, this is the buy-in, which is their pre-show, their kickoff. This is probably one of the best matches on the card.
It's one of the better matches.
Most look forward to matches because it's really Danhausen's first match, and that he actually shows something. Especially
his first. I'm sorry for interrupting, but his first match was Tony Nese, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then he lost, of course, because Hook wasn't in his corner. And they built it up because Hook and Danhausen didn't necessarily like each other. It was kind of a weird thing, and then they kind of got together. It was a good, feel-good moment. And then they had the match, and they won. So, yeah, it was kind of Danhausen's first, big match in AEW.
Yeah, and I feel like they're just trying to build Hookhausen really well. I feel like they have potential to be, the next, Rock and Sock connection of, opposites that work together pretty well.
It's almost like they're, because even though, I'm not going to say they copied, because they are different.
It's a trope. It's a common wrestling trope.
It's their...
Will they, won't they teams.
It's their version of right now, because we've seen many of them, like you saw Rock and Sock and a couple others. This is their RK Bro. Matt Riddle and Randy Orton.
Sheamus and Cesaro.
Well, you could go through all of them.
RK Bro is probably better.
But you have RK Bro, you have Sheamus and Cesaro. He was talking about Rock and Sock. Triple H and Stone Cold a bit. Rico and Charlie Haas. There's quite a few. At first, Chuck Palumbo and Billy Gunn. There's quite a few of
Braun Strowman and the Kid.
Braun Strowman and Nicholas at WrestleMania 34 because Nicholas was a 10-year-old who wrestled for some reason. Yeah, this is their version of that. But like I was saying, as a modern one that's happening in WWE right now, RK Bro. But it's funny because this was kind of what you would call a gimmick match, and yet it was one of the best on this card. More than the technical matches, which most of the time I like the technical wrestling more.
I don't know if I go that far.
How so?
If it was better than a technical match.
Well, some of the matches were technical, as we're going to talk about. Adam Page and CM Punk.
Yeah, but you're saying it's better than a technical match.
On this particular card.
Even then, I disagree, just because it's a tag team match. Tag team matches aren't always going to be the best,
if they know how to do it right.
That's the big one, if. But the problem is with this match, it wasn't bad by any means, but it's definitely not. I think it was more because of the gimmick that it was good, and it's not really that the wrestling was good. It was enjoyable, doesn't mean not necessarily good.
There wasn't that much really wrestling in it, more than it was
more just
running around.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tagging in and out, real quick movements.
Yes, it was better than some of the matches on the card.
But when it comes to the enjoyment of watching it, I guess the entertainment aspect, you'd say for this card it was better or worse?
That's what I'm saying. It's like entertaining, more or less, yes. Good in the sense of a match, no. You know what I mean? Like a normal match.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I'm saying. It's like saying it's better than some of the technical matches. The wrestling.
Well, I meant entertaining. But
that's what I mean. Like the technical, the wrestling's better. The entertainment, not as much.
Right. But I think that's where it was only a 5-minute match, so I guess that's as much we can really talk about. I mean, we can talk about Hook and Danhausen all day, but I don't know if we can talk about this match, anymore. Now, this next match, which I know is the first match on the actual Double or Nothing card, is something we're going to talk about for a second.
This is the catalyst.
This is what made
the defining moment.
This is
the
what,
big bang
yeah.
of this episode. This is what made us make this episode.
This is what made me nearly lose my mind.
Don, what's the match?
It's Wardlow versus MJF.
And if Wardlow loses, he can't wrestle in AEW.
Well, the description says that if MJF wins, Wardlow would be permanently banned from signing with AEW because kayfabe storyline, he technically wasn't with AEW, he was with MJF. He was like a contracted.
Yeah, he was a contracted bodyguard.
Yeah, he was a bodyguard.
Now, about this match before the Double or Nothing pay-per-view happened. Over the past couple weeks, this has been one of the more built-up feuds. One of the biggest ones that they were trying to build up.
But not necessarily for a good thing. Because the match was being built up, yes. But at the Fan Fest the day before, MJF no-showed.
Correct.
No-showed and booked a flight out of Vegas, which he didn't take the flight, so...
Yeah. That's why I said it's not as good. Or not that... The situation to build up wasn't as good because it was more just... It was less about Wardlow and more of will MJF actually show up.
Right.
But it took away from Wardlow.
But the couple weeks prior, before the no-show and all that, I mean, the feud was getting pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's
what happened at the meet and greet that kind of,
what didn't happen at the meet and greet.
Yeah, what didn't happen at the meet and greet is what kind of made this match kind of start on the worst foot possible. And then when the bell rung, it didn't necessarily...
it didn't start good.
It didn't start well.
It basically just turned into a squash match.
Oh my.
Pretty much, if you could take a guess of what happened, the bell rung. MJF, which is the big bad heel, he kind of ran off for a second, kind of like trying not to get involved, and then after that, I don't think. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't get any offense in.
No, well,
maybe
a
couple hits.
He got a couple hits, and then he tried pulling out the Dynamite Diamond Ring when Ramsberg took it back from him.
Oh yes, because it was almost like they were like, "Oh hey, we see you."
Yeah.
Okay, let me get off on a tangent a little bit, just real quick. The ref. I'm not the biggest fan of that ref.
Bryce Ramsberg.
Because he was correct me if I'm wrong. He was PWG, right? He was a pro wrestling gorilla ref. He did a lot of the gimmicks.
Think he was.
I think
he would fight back with the Bucks a lot.
Yes.
I don't really like some of his matches because he does that too far. He gets too involved in the storyline. He makes it too comedic, I guess. Being a ref, you gotta be more serious. His was more. It might have been because of the MJF situation.
Well,
knowing his history as a more comedic, indie ref.
The one spot we're talking about, though, was kind of comedic.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, that's what
it made it less. It made it less. It made it more of a true botch. Not botch. Sorry, a true burial for MJF. Just because, he was just picking around. He wasn't even taking the match serious at that point, which shows how far gone the match had really become backstage.
Right.
How he mentioned it was a burial. We kind of thought that at the time, but what we're all getting to in a little while, it won't be a burial. I think it might actually skyrocket his career. But back to that match, it really
kind of hampers Wardlow's career, doesn't it?
Yes, I agree that it hampers Wardlow's career.
It boosts one, and it tampers with the other one.
Yes, because this was supposed to be Wardlow's like absolute breakout night, like his coming out party showing everyone that he's top dog in the company now. And so for MJF to go out there and get absolutely squashed because we thought it was some type of punishment for his actions over the Double or Nothing weekend kind of killed the Wardlow push, in my opinion.
Right. I do agree with that for pretty much all of it. Hopefully, as the weeks progress, maybe they're still going to give Wardlow that push. But as we talked about, him kind of running away, MJF, and then doing the spot where it was the comedic thing with the ref. The rest of that match was, I'd say, 15 power bombs and then a pin.
Something like that.
Yeah, about 50.
It was like 10 power bombs and then a fake pin.
A fake pin and then like 5 more. Yeah, it was...
a lot of botched power bombs, in my opinion.
How long did that match last?
This match, one of the shortest on the card. It was a 7.5 minute match.
So 7.5 minutes. So they got 2 minutes more than the Hookhausen match. And
yes,
this is the opener of the pay-per-view, the match that... when you book a pay-per-view, most of the time, your opener and your closer need to be the best matches on the card.
Anyway.
Sometimes your opener, your closer, and the one before the closer, the semi-main event. This was not the case. This one was probably, as we were talking, this is what started the idea of let's do an episode about AEW in this for this podcast. Was this match in particular?
Yeah, because this match had one of the biggest storylines going into the pay-per-view. It had gone back for several months to where you could see Wardlow starting to turn on MJF, and then it finally happened, and when he did turn, it took a while for him to actually get his match and all the hurdles he had to go over to finally get the match just for it to be terrible. So,
right.
It was bad. It was pretty bad.
Even though we probably could talk about this match a little bit more, I think it's kind of going to get brought up when we talk about the elephant in the room for the night after. Well, not the night after. The Wednesday after Double or Nothing. But let's go ahead and move on to the second match on the card. What was that, Dalton?
It was... That's not right. Maybe it is right. It says here, the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks.
that was right.
That is correct.
A 19-minute, 15-second match.
Let's get the big part about this feud out of the way. They made it out to be like this was the first time the Hardys and the Young Bucks were wrestling.
A dream match.
A dream match, even.
Oh no, they called it.
They did call it a dream match, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the problem.
This is like the third time they've wrestled because they wrestled in ROH quite a few times.
Yeah.
They wrestled the Hardy Boys, the Young Bucks did, for the ROH Tag Team titles back in 2017.
Twice.
The first time they were the champions and they lost it to the Hardys. And then the night before WrestleMania 33, which was the Hardy Boys' return to the WWE, was a ladder match, which the Hardys dropped the titles back to the Young Bucks. So they had already wrestled twice. But when they built up this feud, it was almost like they were acting like it was the first time they've ever wrestled.
It was dumb. Like, it's dumb saying that it's the first time, dream match, this and that. And even going to that Wednesday, or that Friday even, for Rampage, it has to do with the Bucks. They played off the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix versus Young Bucks. For like fifth time? No, maybe like seventh time, actually, they've went against each other in total.
Yeah, they've gone against each other a handful.
Like, why are you going to build it up like that? It's like, oh, it's the this and this time they've went. What does it matter? They've went so many times. We've seen it so many times. It doesn't matter.
Like, yeah, all the matches they have together are good, but it kind of gets repetitive after.
You got to space them out enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, and then you have the whole thing of going back to the Hardys. It's like, it kind of doesn't matter. You know, you're just saying, oh, it's the first time maybe in an AEW ring, but it's not the first time ever. You should really make it sound better. You know what I mean?
Right. But the actual match that they had at Double or Nothing was decent. It was okay.
It was kind of hectic, and it had some good moments and it had some bad moments, but I enjoyed it.
I'd say it's great knowing that Jeff was not in the best condition going into it.
It's not necessarily... Well, yeah, going into it, but also apparently he really got knocked around during the match because of that poetry in motion spot.
Yeah.
It was said that he, on Matt Hardy's YouTube, where he was knocked out during the match and doesn't even remember it.
Yeah, he don't remember half that match, or any of that match.
So, but for that...
But it also doesn't help that he had previous injuries.
Yeah, because he did, a couple weeks ago, he had his match, it was for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. He had a match against Darby Allin, and that was
ridiculous.
It was pretty much an Extreme Rules match, and they did some spots for sure.
He should not be taking some of them bumps like he.
No.
As old as he is, he doesn't need to be taking them bumps. And
he's already had to modify the Swanton Bomb.
Exactly. There's no point in him modifying the Swanton, trying to make himself better just to take even worse bumps in a normal televised match.
Yeah, because this is coming from people who grew up with Jeff Hardy, like, in awe of Jeff Hardy and everything that he does.
Absolutely, but he also was younger.
Yes.
Relatively.
Yeah, he was in his 30s. So,
Relatively.
Young 30s. But, for him to say that he needs to modify the Swanton, stop landing on his back, and then immediately after that, he started taking bumps on concrete, and stuff like that.
Balconies.
Yeah, it's just a lot. And then we go and get to this match. He's wrestled Darby Allin like 2 weeks ago, I think it was at this point, 3 weeks ago. Got pretty banged up. Wrestled Adam Cole the week after, I think. Got eliminated from the tournament. And then they started this feud with the Young Bucks. He's been wrestling pretty nonstop when it comes to a regular televised schedule. I don't think he's been wrestling the Rampage shows, has he?
No, he hasn't.
So he's got those days off, but other than that, they probably shouldn't have done this match.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like a lot of this match, it's more to publicize the Young Bucks YouTube channel and being the Elite, because a lot of this storyline based off of there, from where they were talking about the Young Bucks were going emo and stuff by just the way they were acting on TV and their relationship with the rest of the Undisputed Elite at the time, because they were getting pushed and the Bucks weren't, and they were upset about it. And then the Hardy Boys were trying to get the Bucks back to the old selves, but it's kind of a pointless feud. They could have done so much more with both of these teams at the pay-per-view, but I don't really know how they could have done that in all reality.
It is a bit weird.
Yeah, it is. But before we do get off of this match, I do want to bring up the best part of this feud, and that was the Young Bucks dressing up as the Hardy Boys. That was hilarious.
Definitely wasn't Brandon Cutler in that thong.
Yeah, because he was Lita, if you didn't know Chance. I didn't know if you saw any of that. Yeah, they dressed up as the Hardy Boys, and their manager, he dressed up as Lita. He had a red thong on, and he made sure that everyone saw it. But I think that was the best part of that. And also, they brought Gangrel out, and they did like the Brood and stuff. Yeah. It was a fun little moment, but it was
after that Edge entrance.
The one at SummerSlam, and I think also at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view.
They did it a couple of times.
I thought they kind of ruined that whole Gangrel coming to AEW because of that.
Yeah, well, the AEW Gangrel thing was a one-time appearance, but the fact that they were able to get him and to do that, it was a pretty cool thing. It was funny, and then the Bucks turned on Gangrel, and then the Hardys came out and helped him out and all that stuff.
Cool.
It was a sweet little thing, but it was a good. That was the best part of this feud, like just the fact that they dressed up as the Hardys, and I think it was Matt Jackson did the really awful face paint job.
Oh, that was Nick.
Was it Nick?
Nick did the terrible face paint.
Oh my gosh, you'll have to see that after we're
then he even
done
mocked
with this.
He even mocked Jeff's Instagram, like the way he does his videos and stuff.
Did he really do? Did he do it on his Instagram?
Yes, he did.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
It was quite funny.
But moving on, what was the third match on the card, Dalton?
The third official match on the card was Jade Cargill, the AEW TBS champion, versus Anna Jay in a 7-minute, 25-second brawl.
Okay.
Anna Jay winning. Not Anna Jay winning. Jade Cargill retaining in a match that probably would have been good if it wasn't for, as Max says, the same thing that happens in Jade Cargill's matches.
Yes.
Well, let's kind of bring up the fact that Chance, I want to kind of let you know, because I don't know, again, you don't keep up with Dynamite and Rampage as much. Jade, the TBS champion, is pretty much their Goldberg. She has a streak going. Yeah, she's 30, 32
yeah,
and 0.
32 and 0.
Yeah, she's their like Goldberg. She's got like the big undefeated streak going on right now.
Just wait. Someone's gonna bring out a taser and ruin it.
No, not the Scott Hall thing. But no, she's pretty much their Goldberg, and I think my biggest issue with it is that they're making out like a Goldberg storyline, and it's just undefeated streak. But also, not even that. It's almost like the TNT title. And I think we'll bring it up in a little bit. We see the TBS championship all the time. It doesn't make any of the matches.
It's not good.
We don't get a special. TNT. TBS, we don't get special matches like those. Like, it's an every week thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like a television title.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's basically like the 24/7 title at this point, as many matches as there happen for it. And it changes hands so much. There's no need for all of it.
Honestly, this match could have been, if it wasn't something we see every single week, on Dynamite.
Yeah, and all of Jade Cargill's matches, they're the same to me, and her run is so boring. All of her matches,
it could be decent, but it's like they're not booking it that way.
Yeah, all of her matches are just the same thing, and they all end in either her botching, or in either Red Velvet or Kiera Hogan, or now Stokely Hathaway coming out and saving her from losing, and it's just so frustrating because I feel like that AEW has a good women's division. And there are so many people that they could put that title on, but they choose Jade, and they have a pretty bland storyline going, and they can't build that title like it should be.
I would honestly say stop doing the matches every week and make the belt feel important.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty much all you can do. But another big thing, like we said, this is a match that was okay. It wasn't the worst thing. I mean, it wasn't the MJF Wardlow match. But it also was something you would see on a typical Wednesday or Friday.
Oh, also after this match, we had the debut of Athena, or she was Ember Moon in NXT and WWE. But she made her AEW debut, and that kind of set off a feud between Anna Jay, Chris Statlander, and Athena versus Jade Cargill, Kiera Hogan, and Red Velvet. We'll have to see where that goes.
It might be okay.
It probably won't go nowhere.
It might. But also, there was another debut during that match, I believe, wasn't there?
It was Stokely Hathaway.
Yeah, there we go. That was
Hathaway?
Hathaway,
yeah.
Sorry.
If I'm not mistaken, he was the manager for the Diamond Mine.
Malcolm Bivens.
Yes. Roderick Strong's faction.
He's also former manager in ROH of Moose.
Yes.
He also used to manage MJF before he was.
Yes, he did.
In AEW.
Yeah. So pretty good manager. He's got a
couple good people.
A list of really good wrestlers he's managed. He's like Paul Heyman, he's got a lot of good names.
Yeah, a good resume.
So it could go okay. It could go into the bland every week category. Obviously you want to see it go well, but who knows? We'll just have to see as it progresses. But overall, a pretty average match. But what was the fourth match on this card, Don?
It was the trios or 6-man tag match between the House of Black, which is Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King, against such a dumb name, Death Triangle, Pac, Penta, Oscuro, Pentagon Jr., and Rey Fenix with Alex Abrahantes in a 15-minute, 35-second trios match.
Well,
I can't like he's Pentagon Jr.
Yeah, he is.
So stupid.
Let's start off with this.
He's Pentagon Jr. He's Pentadark. Like, pick one.
Go back to Breaking Arms.
He was like, what was it? Penta.
Ciedo Medio.
Yeah. Really, just Penta Zero Fear.
Yeah.
Just choose one name. Just choose Pentagon Jr. Stick with it. That's what everybody knows you as.
I think this is his 4th name he's been on since he's been in the company.
At least in AEW, because he was Pentagon Jr. in Impact. He was Pentagon Jr. / like maybe Pentagon Dark or something in Lucha Underground. Like, just pick one, man.
Yeah.
But then again, it's probably just his thing. He just
we could
likes,
say the same thing about John Morrison.
Yeah, John.
Gosh, what he's
Johnny Dark. I love
at this point, he is Johnny Dark.
I absolutely love John Morrison, but God, going to AEW, and he's just gonna be Johnny Dark from now on.
It'd be hilarious.
Johnny Elevation.
Johnny Elevation.
Well, this match was...
Johnny Rampage is still a better name, or Johnny Dynamite.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
still a better name than
Johnny Elite. Yeah.
Sorry for the tangent, but that
no,
just
you're
had
fine.
to be said.
I mean, hey, I brought it up. So this match was okay. It ran a little long, but I think the big thing that was cool, but it kind of felt overdue, was the finale of this match. What happened right at the very end.
I feel like it's more of a payoff. Because like there's kind of like some uncertainty, and now you know how it.
Yeah,
I
think we're gonna bring it up, but I think Max is gonna be the one who gets on this the biggest, because he loved this the House of Black feud that was going on. So the big thing is that this feud was a thing that happened quite a while ago, and then it kind of stopped. And then House of Black went against the Varsity Blondes, which is Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr.
Who the is Griff Garrison?
A nice being the elite joke. And
That's
then
a nice
that
Brody Lee
is a
joke.
Brody Lee joke.
Oh, rest in peace.
And then that feud kind of stopped for a second.
Yeah.
And then the Death Triangle feud came back, and the payoff, the ending of this match was them going back to the Varsity Blondes feud.
Yeah, like this feud between...
Well, it's more of a payoff for the Varsity Blondes feud.
Yeah, but what I want to get at is this feud with the House of Black and Death Triangle has been going on for way too long, in my opinion. And I know a lot of it just comes from where Rey Fenix broke his arm and was out for a couple months. But the fact that this feud has gone back all the way since basically Malachi Black debuted, and it's just now basically ending, that's kind of too long in my opinion. But the other part of this feud was when they got into it with the Varsity Blondes, and Malachi Black sprayed Julia Hart with the Black Mist, and it took her, I think it's been at least 6 months. No, it's been over that, because that happened back in December, because that happened before I went to the show in Greensboro. And she got sprayed before that, and yeah, it's just taking too long. And then the feud just died off of TV for weeks on end, just to come back out of nowhere for Julia to so-called turn on the Blondes, but when the House of Black wanted her to, she didn't, and went back to the Blondes, and then goes back to Death Triangle at the end of the match by spraying the mist into Pac's eyes. Yeah, that's what I meant, House of Black. But when she sprayed the mist into Pac's eyes, just turning out of nowhere after it looked like she was just going to go back to the Blondes.
What has kind of seemed like that slowly she's been turning, has it not? Like, from what I've seen with the eye patch and everything, like, and her, like, sitting on the corner or whatever.
Yeah, she used to be the cheerleader for the team, and then she just started, instead of standing up, hyping everyone up, she sits on the steps and just doesn't even watch the match. But what I'm saying is, like, this has gone on too long. It's basically ping-ponged back and forth, and you don't really know what to expect, because it's so jumbled at this point.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could also say, what is it? It's been, like, no real payoff, because how long... Did you say how long the Varsity Blondes have been off TV?
Been off TV?
Yeah, they haven't really been on there, have they?
They...
Little bit.
They were on, I'd say, about a month ago when they first did the thing about Julia joining the house, and then she didn't. But before that, in all reality, it just goes back to December when Griff went up against Malachi, and then the next week Brian Pillman Jr. went up against Malachi, just for them to lose and basically get squashed by him to bring the feud back kind of out of the dead.
So ultimately, really no real payoff. Honestly, just because it's been so back and forth and weird.
Yeah.
I think, here's my thing about this. I think the best thing that they could have done to make it even better was for her to do the spot, right? With the mist.
Yeah.
I guess the black mist or whatever it is. Pretty much black spit at this point.
Well, it's I was going to say Asuka, but really it's,
Tajiri.
No, not even Tajiri. It's,
the Great Muda?
Great Muda, yeah, Muda.
Yeah. Okay, so
he's really first mainstream.
He's pretty much the original for it. She does the spot, cost the match. I think, did Malachi take did he pin or was it
Malachi?
It was Malachi.
Okay.
Because Pac fell off top
right.
and Malachi hit
I couldn't remember if it was him or
the Black Mass.
Is it still Black Mass? Can you still call it that?
I guess.
His finisher.
Yeah. The kick.
Here's the thing that would have made it good. Because it was something that they didn't even bring up on Rampage or Dynamite this week. And that was, she does a spot, the match is over, the House of Black is won. Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr. come out being like, what are you doing? What was that? And then they get attacked. And she just watches it with a smile.
Yeah.
Did they do that?
Like, no, they didn't. She walked out, did the thing, they won. They kind of were like, hey, we're glad you're here. And then they walked out.
And now the Blondes are going to be off TV for
so now the Blondes are
going
to do nothing.
Well,
I hate that.
Real life thing, unfortunately, Brian Pillman Jr.'s mom did pass away. So he will be taking a little bit of time.
Yes,
yeah, of course.
That was kind of well, he posted and said it was unexpected yet expected, but
knowing her history, yeah, but
yes.
But overall, that should have been the thing that happened, but it didn't. So I think the payoff, it just wasn't. It wasn't what it should have been. It could have mixed and concluded two different stories mixed together for an epic finale, and they didn't do it. And it's a missed opportunity for sure.
Oh, definitely.
If anything, they could have done like another one of them trios tag matches, or not trios tags, but the 3-team tags, kind of like they did later in the show with
mixed trios.
No, not the mixed trios. I'm talking
about.
Oh,
you're talking about like a 6-man.
Like, where it's 3 teams.
Multi-team match.
Yeah, multi-team, like they did with Swerve, Scott, and Keith Lee, and then
a 3-on-3-on-3. Is that what you're talking about?
You can do that, or you can just do a 2-on-2-on-2. So.
Right, a 2-on-2-on-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have done that. They could do it now, but
they won't.
They probably won't.
Yeah, I don't see Varsity Blondes being on TV, sadly, anytime soon. As much as
I feel like their feud.
They're so good.
Is more or less
They're
done
so
now.
good, and it's a shame that it's over. I think it might be over. We don't know.
Yeah, pretty much over.
But hopefully they come back on TV, or at least maybe Griff and Brian go and do they could do a solo thing and at least try something out. But we don't know. But I think that's all we can talk about with this match. The next match, was that the Owen Hart matches that happened, or was that a little later? This is a long card.
Match, yes. The first of the Owen Hart matches. Oh wow, that's actually pretty interesting. The women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament final between Adam Cole
and the men's.
Yeah, the men's.
Yeah, was it the men's first?
The men's was first.
Okay, yeah, it was the men's.
Yeah. It was Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe, which. Real quick tangent, something that was weird. They never mentioned that Joe was ROH TV champ.
Yeah, he never came out with the belt, which I thought was kind of shocking.
It didn't come out with the belt, didn't say that was his title.
Especially the fact that, Tony Khan owns it.
Yeah,
you'd think
not AEW, Tony, yeah.
They would show that bad boy. They did not. At all.
Yeah, they're trying to push it ROH.
You have to push the dead company. I mean,
they're not really pushing it. I mean, this is a tangent, I know, and I apologize. But here's the thing. When you have two of your singles champions that are with AEW not even show up rarely. Well, Joe shows up, but It didn't even say he was champ or nothing like that. You don't have Yuta here recently. Yeah. And he's the pure champion.
He's my favorite out of Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, I hate that they didn't put him in that match, but we'll get back to that later.
Don't even have... They haven't even shown the ROH Women's Champion.
Yeah, they have. On Dark.
Have they? On Dark. Exactly, on Dark. Exactly. It shows you how, God, that rumored logo looks horrible. It looks like something...
Better, at least it's better than the first one that
I can literally make it in GIMP, which I make the thumbnails with. I could make the exact same ROH logo.
The new one looks better than the one that they first presented, but it's still kind of lackluster for sure.
It's still garbage. It shows you how much they're taking it serious, which is not at all. Which sucks, because ROH was great.
Of course.
That was a tangent, though. The match, the finish was weird.
Well, let's get this out of the way. How long was the match?
That's what's funny. It was a 12-minute, 30-second match. Just to go ahead and get the match out of the way. The next match was I'm not going to say the participants yet. It was the women's final. It was 13 minutes, 20 seconds.
But
so it was like a flip.
Yeah, it was very close.
Yeah, it was very, very close.
Well, I enjoyed the women's better than the men's Owen Hart final. Because... Samoa Joe and Adam Cole are two of the best wrestlers in AEW. I was going to say ROH. Only one of them is ROH, technically. They're one of the best wrestlers in the company, and they put on a decent match, but not what it could have been.
The match was weird.
And I don't know if it was because of the time they were given, or it was just an off night.
Or if they just don't mix well. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Samoa Joe and Adam Cole have had a match together before.
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe in the Independents.
Even then, I don't know.
Maybe.
Their styles just don't flow together, in my opinion.
No, because Cole is, I guess, more of a technician. Well, no, Joe's really more of a... He's a powerhouse, but he's a technician.
Joe is an all-around. He can submit you. He's a striker, technician. He can do it all. But... Like Adam Cole, he's kind of just...
So maybe that was it. They just didn't match.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it wasn't my favorite. And that was probably the one match I was looking forward to the most. And it just didn't click. It didn't click.
In my opinion, Joe just lost a little bit too easy. He's supposed to be the ROH television title or ROH television champion.
He's the belt itself.
Yeah, he is the belt.
He is the belt.
I am the belt.
But he just lost too easily. Like just taking a single.
It's Samoa Joe.
A Shining Wizard.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't a single Shining Wizard. It was like two, maybe. But the way he got pinned, it was a clean pin.
Yeah.
Which was weird, even though there was some interference by Bobby Fish. It was just a weird finish.
Yeah,
it was a very quick finish.
It's kind of weird because that's all I can really say about that match is because there wasn't really much that happened.
It was mediocre. It wasn't too action-packed.
It was pretty average.
Slow-paced.
But the other one, the women's Owen Hart Foundation finals,
which was between Ruby Soho and Dr. Britt Baker.
DMD.
I knew you were going to do it.
There we are.
I hate that so much.
Chance, I don't know if you know, but she's a dentist. So
like an
Tony Schiavone.
Like she's an actual,
well, let you know every chance you got.
Dentist.
God, it's so. I'm sorry, but it's so annoying to me.
So Ruby Soho versus Dr. Britt Baker DMD was better than the men's, but
which
still,
is saying something,
but still wasn't
two of the best wrestlers in AEW.
But still wasn't as good as it could have been because Ruby Soho and Britt Baker are two of the best women's wrestlers that they have. And it could have been really great, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was because they didn't their classes didn't clash well together. I don't know if it was because they only had 13 minutes.
Also, there wasn't really much storyline behind it. Yes, they did have one match before when Britt was the women's champion and she beat Ruby, but there's really no storyline to go with it.
I think the biggest build-up was
that's the thing with tournaments.
Yeah.
I think the biggest build-up was right after Ruby won the semifinals match. I think it was... Who'd she go against? Chris Statlander?
And she was booed?
And she was booed?
Because they wanted Chris Statlander to win?
Yeah, that was about it. Because Ruby got on the microphone and was like, I like Chris Statlander, and I did that to her. You won't even believe what I'm going to do to you at the pay-per-view. And she got booed out of the building, which she doesn't necessarily deserve, but I think people just really wanted Chris Statlander to win the match.
Which, good on her. I mean, Chris Statlander...
She's over.
She's over, yeah.
That's the problem, though. Even if you're over, they won't really do anything with you.
We're best friends.
But I do like Ruby.
Orange Cassidy. He ain't getting over. Or he ain't doing nothing anytime soon.
He's injured.
I do like Ruby Soho though, and so for the match not to go to be one of the best matches on the card is kind of a bummer because it could have been great.
But arguably, it did have more story than any other match because. Even in their build-up, Ruby Soho's first match was against Britt Baker.
Yeah.
So,
first singles match.
Yes.
Well, yeah. But it was for the title as well. So, AEW Women's title when Britt Baker had it.
Yeah.
But, of course...
She dropped it, to be honest.
Britt Baker wins the match. What was it, by roll pin?
Well, Ruby went for a roll-up, and then Britt reversed into her own roll-up and won it.
So and there's a thing with that. Ruby Soho went for the exact same roll pin that Owen Hart pulled at WrestleMania 10.
Really? Is that what that was?
That was the exact same roll-up, but Britt Baker counted it. Because Britt Baker, or Ruby Soho also went for a sharpshooter. And actually, the sharpshooter technically wasn't supposed to be that bad, or it wasn't that bad. Everybody thought, oh, that's a horrible-looking sharpshooter. She did it in a certain way that was like Owen's sharpshooter.
Right.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. It doesn't look as bad now if it's intentionally supposed to be like that. Because she, hooked her leg.
It looked kind of sloppy. It looked like Britt was basically
at first,
laying completely flat with just her ankles crossed. But that makes a lot more sense now.
Someone else did a bad... Was it Punk? He did a bad sharpshooter.
I think it was Punk.
But then again, we'll get to that. I'll bring up why. But it was just a bad sharpshooter. But Soho's, with the background, it's better than it was.
But Owen Hart was one of the best wrestlers ever. So if it's a sloppy sharpshooter, then it's the right way to do a sharpshooter.
Like Max said, it looked sloppy. It wasn't necessarily that it was. It just kind of it was confusing.
So Britt Baker won and Adam Cole won. As you know, if you don't know, they are a power couple. They are a real life couple, which it wasn't that much of a surprise that they did win. Those belts that they presented aren't the worst looking. They're actually really good.
Something funny about that too. They are
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, they're designed like the NWA Stampede.
Yeah, it was the Stampede North American Championships.
Yeah.
Yes, those look really nice.
I enjoyed the tribute.
The color scheme's not that.
I didn't like the pink strap on the women's, but
the pink accents don't really look good to me.
It was okay, I guess.
Pink doesn't look good on a belt.
I mean, it depends on how you do it.
Example,
the butterfly belt.
I was going to say the example of the Divas belt.
The Divas Championship.
Even the NXT Women's Championship before it transitioned.
I thought it looked good as pink on the NXT Women's Championship. But I guess that belt I enjoyed, but that's just me. But yeah, the belts look good. I did like the fact that Tony Schiavone got a hug from Britt Baker. And then Adam Cole kind of gave him that look. Because that's what it's been like for... I think Tony Schiavone is Adam Cole's AEW Pat McAfee.
Yes.
It's like he hates him that much.
Yes.
At least Tony is not calling him short.
Right, yeah. Kind of small. You're kind of, you know, today you guys are pretty buff, you know, and you're kind of small.
And he just pulls a full John Moxley.
And then he just
drops an F-bomb on
Yeah.
Or MJF and drop a mean F-bomb.
We'll get to that. But the Owen Hart Foundation tournament finals were not the worst thing on the card.
Yeah, but I feel
they were
the
decent.
Tournament was pretty lackluster.
Well, it was kind of thrown together, especially with those wild cards getting thrown in right there at the very end,
and the wild cards being absolutely useless.
Yeah, two good wrestlers, pretty useless though, sadly.
Theoretically, in the Owen Hart in the women's tournament, there was really two wild cards because the first match you ever saw was Toni Storm's debut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
But technically,
I was
that
there
was
for
a qualifier.
Yeah,
that
but
wasn't necessarily tournament.
Yeah, true. You got a point. You got a point.
It's still a wild card because you didn't expect it necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing, but it wasn't the best thing on the card. It's going to take a second before we get to the best thing on the card. But yes, the finals of the tournament were okay. The next match on the card, if I'm not mistaken, was it that car accident of a match?
It was, no.
It wasn't? Oh,
No.
man.
It was.
You're going to get when I say that.
It was the mixed trios.
Oh my!
Even worse.
With American top team, Ethan Page, All Ego, Scorpio
All
Sky,
Ego, Ethan Page,
Scorpio Sky, the TNT champion with that god awful belt, and Paige Van Zant with Dan Lambert, defeating Kazarian, the punchable Sammy Guevara, and the cheating Ty Conti.
Well, and Sammy's cheating too, so.
Yeah. Well, let me say.
Rumors.
Yes,
rumors.
It's a rumor.
Big rumor alert.
It is a rumor. I'm not saying this because I don't know them. I don't want to know them because Sammy Guevara has a very punchable face.
Yes,
God, I don't like that man.
I agree, but yes, the rumors. Regardless, their characters aren't my favorite, and sometimes I feel like it kind of bleeds into real life.
This match dragged on. It felt like it dragged on. This was as long as the Adam Cole Samoa Joe match.
Really?
Also,
12 and a half minutes.
Wow.
Also, I absolutely hated the fact that Sammy Guevara and Tay were playing tonsil hockey on the ramp on the way down.
Oh my gosh! I'm glad you missed that chance. They
Yes.
were making out on the stage,
Yes.
and it was, oh my gosh! If there was a bed in the ring, it was going to be as serious as Edge and Lita. Like,
Yeah.
that sucker could have went in some awful places.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, they already did an Edge and Lita with the TNT title.
oh no! You didn't have to remind me of that. Mature stuff and stuff I honestly don't want to see on AEW.
The sex.
Anyway, so this match was my second least favorite on the card. I'm sorry, but the MJF Wardlow match was the worst thing because the storyline went to
Nowhere.
it went
Basically
nowhere.
Down
Yeah.
the toilet.
Yeah. So this was the second worst.
It went down like MJF's pay.
We'll get to that. It was stupid. This match was stupid. This is the one match that I will not say anything positive about. The only thing I can say is that I wish Frankie Kazarian was not in it because he is such a good wrestler.
Yes, I've loved
That is the
Kazarian.
only thing I can say positive about this match is that there was a good wrestler in it, and that's about it. This match sucked. It was pretty much just a wasted storyline for the TNT title, and
Well,
Wasn't even really.
not for the end.
no, not even for the TNT title, but I'm just saying because
the
the
stipulation
TNT champion
was that
was in a useless storyline.
Yes, the stipulation was if Kazarian, Sammy Guevara lost, that neither one of them would be able to fight for the TNT title. Is it in general, or is it as long as Scorpio's champion?
I believe it's as long as Scorpio's champion because they kind of did the same thing with the TBS title when Jade first beat Anna Jay. Because the storyline they were going off then was if you lost, then you couldn't get another shot at it while that person was champion. But we see how that went. So.
Well, and also they did the exact same thing. Well, they done it. It's also a wrestling trope, but they did it with in TNA with Sting.
Yes.
Speaking of Sting, the next match was.
Well, wait, hold on. There are some things that I need to get off my chest about this match.
Sorry.
Let's get the finale of this match out of the way because this match was useless.
Oh, it was god awful.
And this match was useless, and it just, there was no need for it, and then the finale was something that was actually reused from something from AAA wrestling, because the ending had Sammy Guevara accidentally kick his girlfriend, super kick.
Highlight
And-
match.
Super kick.
This was reused from AAA. I think, was it Pentagon Jr.?
Yeah, Pentagon Jr.
Super kicked her, and this was like in less than a month between each other, and that was the end of the match pretty much because Sammy got distracted, and then that was the end. And the problem with this was it just kept the storyline of them not, the romantic, the amazing romantic story between Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara, the thing that we all enjoy on AEW Dynamite.
Oh god.
That's all I'm going to say about that. This is the match that I can't say anything positive about, but we will go ahead and move on to the next match. Dawn, I know you were ready to go ahead and move on, so go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, well, it went with Sting. With Sting, the next match was Kyle O'Reilly versus Darby Allin in a singles match, which, besides the Wardlow match, this was the shortest match on the card. No, never mind. The Jade Cargill match was the shortest match on the card. This went on for 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Not really much to go off of this match, to be honest, just because it was just a standard singles match.
Yeah, this was a match that just should have been on.
And Kyle O'Reilly won. You'd think Darby would have won.
Yeah,
but
especially after Sting got hurt from the Undisputed Elite. You think they'd kind of give Darby the win to, I guess, counterbalance the rivalry, but who knows. Underwhelming match.
To say the least. I mean, it was definitely, I guess it was one of the weaker matches on the card.
I guess you can say it was a time filler, but we didn't even need a time
no,
filler.
No, it was a time filler, actually, yeah.
This pay-per-view shouldn't have been that long, but the real reason it was because Game 7 between the Celtics and the Heat, and Tony had to have his main event after that game ended.
It went after, definitely.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Fun is not the word I'd use, but it's a technical match between two guys, and I can't believe I'm complimenting Darby Allin. That could go good, you know what I mean? They can wrestle. Especially Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
But, come on. It was just, like you said, it's a filler. This was
just
something that could have just been used for TV.
Yeah, just thrown together last minute. Like, this match wasn't announced till Rampage that Friday before.
Even then, people weren't really certain that it would.
Yeah.
They were
it was kind of just thrown in for the, like he was saying, for the playoffs.
At that point, don't try to schedule your pay-per-view around another thing. Just do it whenever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't even try to say, oh, we're just going to fit it around this. No, just go ahead and go on with it. You know, if, honest to God, if people are going to buy it and watch it, they'll buy it and watch it and not pay attention to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, like, I'm not the biggest basketball fan, so I could care less about the NBA Finals. I keep up with it on my phone.
Exactly, see? So,
wrestling is more important than basketball, period.
So
that's an unpopular opinion for many.
Well, I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's not really much to talk about this match. It was kind of sad. It could have been good, but it was a last-minute addition. But the next match.
The next match was honestly not really exciting to me, just because I'm not a fan of one of the wrestlers, and the other wrestler, it's like, It was Thunder Rosa, the AEW Women's Champion, versus Serena Deeb, or Serena from the Straight Edge Society.
Yeah.
This match was one of the longest on the card. 16 minutes, 55 seconds. 5 minutes short of a 17-minute match. The longest women's match on the card, if you count, technically, the trios mixed tag match.
It was just not it for me. That match was just so boring. There was no real big spots in it. I get that Serena Deeb's a technical wrestler and that, but she does not need to be fighting for the women's championship.
Especially after they gave her the NWA Women's Championship.
Yes, I agree with that. And I'll keep saying this. Thunder Rosa is champion. I get they're trying to get that she's earned her title reign. But it's just, like Jade Cargill, it's just so underwhelming. There's so many better women's wrestlers out there that could be, that are better, in my opinion, in the ring and on the mic. But why keep it as bland as possible?
Well, I ask this. As someone who doesn't really watch AEW at all, really. I caught glimpses of it when I was on vacation one time, but did she really earn it? Like, honestly, did she earn it? Or was it more of just...
popularity?
Yeah, it's like popularity, or we're just gonna give it to her. Like, what really was it, to be honest?
I feel like it was just more of popularity. Like, yeah, she kind of had that good match. Like, she had that good blood and guts match with, or the lights out match with Britt Baker at the St. Patrick's Day show. But still, that's like the only highlight she's really had in AEW besides, I guess, winning the title in that steel cage match. And it's just so underwhelming. Like, there's nothing she's really done that's just wowed me in her reign, or even before that.
And I try not to say anything about somebody that I really don't know anything about, and she's just one that's just not really... It's like you said, it's not really like a wow, it's more of just... She's just kind of there, I guess. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not really buying her reign, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'd be called out for that if anybody actually cared, but I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, same. Just this boring match, in my opinion. So
it's a trend. It feels like for this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of built up some of them, and it's like, well, some of these are kind of just meh at best. Kind of like this next match, which was absolute fiery dog. This next match, man, it was not good. For some people to say, even Dave Meltzer of all people, to say that this was a 5-star match, he is definitely doing some stuff with Tony Khan that is not legal in at least 45 states. The Anarchy in the Arena match between the Jericho Appreciation Society, which is Chris Jericho, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, Angelo Parker, and Matt Menard. If you don't know 3 of the 5 people, don't worry, no one does. Against the Blackpool Combat Club. I thought it was it'd be cool if it was Blackpool Combat League.
No,
Blackpool
Club sounds better.
Combat League. I think it'd be better.
I think Club sounds better.
Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, with Eddie Kingston and Santana and Ortiz. This match went on for God knows too long. 22 minutes, 45 seconds. Just shy of the main event, which is insane. This, like, Justin Roberts said that it's about to hit the fan. Yeah, it did, and it spread everywhere, and it stunk up the entire place. This match was hot garbage.
Hold on.
You think this is 5 stars. I'm calling out right now, you're stupid. God have mercy on your soul. This is not wrestling.
Okay,
this is like
let's time out.
GCW on steroids, roided out like Hulk Hogan. This is horrible.
Let's time out. We're getting a little overwhelmed now. This match had potential.
If it was like more not scripted, but held together, yes, it would have had all the potential in the world.
This match could have been good. The camera angles,
and then they went and shat on it.
The
mustard on it.
The mustard, yeah, there we go.
Oh my God, the mustard.
Let's talk about that, because Chance has zero clue of what we're talking about.
Okay, so who was it exactly?
Eddie Kingston absolutely smothered Matt Menard in mustard.
Yeah, they went
and
to
the dude was
stands
cut up
and they
bad. He was bleeding
mustard
profusely.
Yeah, Matt Menard definitely bladed too deep.
He bladed too deep. And then he added mustard onto the wound.
It's like mustard and ketchup. He's a hot dog.
Oh my God, I had a little bit of garbage on there. It's a little bit of relish.
Yeah.
Well, this match was the garbage. Alright, so yeah, Clinton, you were saying the problems. Camera cuts.
They shouldn't have had just 5 different one-on-one matches going on. Completely different parts of the arena.
At one point, there was basically a tag team match.
If it was a little bit more put together and they were a little bit closer to each other, they weren't separated, it probably would have been better. One thing that I can say I didn't really like, but I mean, kind of looking at it now, Jericho's talked about it after the show. He was like the little press conference thing or whatever they have.
Tony's cracked out press conference.
Jon Moxley's music looped like 2 or 3 times when the match started. They were kind of going to do a New Jack thing, where the music's just playing throughout the match, and then Jericho, being the heel, unplugs the wires, the music goes off, everyone boos. I thought the music kind of took away from the match. Some of the bigger...
I guess some of it, yeah.
Some of the bigger spots took place while the music was going on. When New Jack was doing his music, a New Jack match wasn't a match. It was him beating people with a bunch of different weapons and then using a vacuum to vacuum up the mat that had no dirt on it. Well, dirt probably, but it wasn't plugged up, so it wasn't doing anything. And then he just smashed them with the vacuum cleaner, and that was a New Jack match. This was a little bit more than just hitting people with weapons, you know? Like, this is a 5-on-5 match. And think they needed to not try to do ECW and kind of be their own thing. I know that's really hard.
It wasn't even ECW.
I know that's really hard to really kind of pinpoint, but I do think at first the match was having its big spots, other than the ladder spot with
Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah. The bigger spots happened while the music was looping, and I think it took away from the spots. The only 2 spots you had that were pretty big after that were the ladder spot, and then zombie-looking Eddie Kingston coming out and pouring gasoline.
Looking like Trevor.
On Trevor from Grand Theft Auto, pouring gasoline on, I think it was Jericho and Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson was on his team, and then they started getting into a fight.
Which ended up costing them
the match. This match was...
It was a dumb finish.
This match was everywhere. And...
No, not joking. It was legit everywhere in the arena.
Everywhere. I think if you were to take out the New Jack match aspects and kind of just focused on what was happening in the ring and outside the ring and in the arena, it might have been a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, I can only say what I felt were the weak spots.
Yeah. Dog
Well, yeah, but what was...
I mean... Here's the
What
thing.
were the weak spots of it, other than the camera angles?
Well, it wasn't just the camera angles. It was just everywhere. It was not good. You couldn't focus... Even if you were in the arena, you don't want to look at the TV or screen. You don't. I don't even think they were doing it. I don't know if they were showing it on the screen. If you can't keep up with your wrestlers, the cameraman can't keep up, how's your audience going to keep up? There's no spotlights showing them at all. No spotlights at all. They were in the crowd. They were backstage, in the concessions, whatever.
Daniel Garcia and Eddie Kingston even went down to the basement.
They took a lift.
They took an elevator to the basement.
Lift? Yeah, they took it in an elevator. Like, how are you supposed to keep up? Like, this match was absolute hot garbage. It was as if everyone was no-clipping, glitching through a 2K WWE game.
Yes.
You're going into the crowd.
I feel like the only way that it would have been reasonable to keep up with this was if they did
you had split screen.
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say. If they did like quad cams, kind of like 4 sections on the screen, and it kind of just sections off who's with who and what happens. But
and even then, I don't even know if it would have been fine.
Yes.
It was just so much, and just I guess not enough at the same time.
Yeah. I thought one funny thing I saw was it was Bryan Danielson getting choked out by the rope, and it was like Karma came back and got him, and then it had a picture of him choking out Justin Roberts with his tie.
Yeah, I saw that. That was the first thing I thought about was the Justin Roberts thing. Yeah, I mean they should have done a camera like turn to Justin Roberts, him just like chuckling, just.
Lord,
but this match,
he would have done it too.
Yeah, but this match was not the favorite.
Not at all.
But moving on, I think this is the second to last match coming up.
I believe so. Yeah, that one kind of drained the life out of everybody. If you had one tag team match, you have another one. It's the 3-way tag team title match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Jurassic Express, which is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, with Christian Cage, they were the champs. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, the most throw-in-a-giver team in recent history outside of the WWE Women's Division.
Yeah, they're over though.
Yes, and Team Taz, which is Powerhouse Hobbs, and the also very punchable Ricky Starks. This match went on for 17 minutes, 15 seconds, with the two dinosaurs and Small Boy retaining. Somehow they retained.
Yes. I think...
Two dinosaurs? You talking about Christian? You talking about him being old?
Well, if the shoe
Who were the two dinosaurs?
Well, I was gonna say the two dinosaurs and Small Man. I don't know. It kind of messed up. But hey, Christian is old, so you have one metaphorical dinosaur, one physical dinosaur. So
yeah,
he's like half dinosaur. But
who? Luchasaurus?
Yeah, he's like half dinosaur.
Yeah.
All you need now is the Funkadactyls and the Funkasaurus.
Oh my God! Yes. Do it, you cowards! Book it. Brodus Clay comes back in AEW with
Oh my God.
the Funkasaurus versus the Luchasaurus.
Well,
yes.
you know, if as far as I know,
Get tired
Naomi is not doing anything on WWE right now. So
neither is Cameron.
Neither is Cameron. So
and we all know Tony Khan loves his ex WWE superstars.
We're getting to that. In all seriousness, this match, I might be the only one who thinks this. I might not. This was the best match on the card.
It wasn't bad.
I enjoyed this match, and
Definitely wasn't horrible.
yes, and I feel like AEW's done pretty good with these three-way tag matches, like at Revolution when they had the Bucks versus Red Dragon versus Jurassic Express. That was another fantastic three-way match because they find a way to keep the action going instead of just having little dead spots here and there like normal tag matches where everything slows down. But this match, it had unpredictable tags, and it had a couple, I think, amazing spots, like when Swerve did the assisted moonsault off of Keith Lee's chest. I thought that was probably the best spot of the match.
Yeah, and it's not... I want to say it's not an overdone spot. Keith Lee has definitely done it. There's one that Seth Rollins, the former Tyler Black, he did it. He did on the indie scene. Might have been PWG. Might have been a regular just indie event.
Indies.
He bounced off of a big dude, not even a wrestler, just a fan, and it was good. Like he bounced off pretty good. So it was a surprising spot. It was probably a nice.
It was a clean spot.
Yeah. It's kind of sad how most of the some of the tag team matches were better than some of the singles matches.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I think all of the tag matches were better than the singles matches in all reality.
No.
I'm saying that not including the Ty Conti, Sammy Guevara sex fest.
God.
So
I can't believe I'm going back to this. Don't show tons of hockey all the time, man.
Exactly.
It's about as bad as watching Lana and Bobby Lashley make out right in front of Miro.
I agree on that.
Come on, man.
Also, it's good to see Miro back on TV. But
surprisingly.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of cliche. I called it before the match started.
Everybody called it at this point.
Well, that there was going to be the big man spot where it was going to be Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee and Luchasaurus all facing off. And in all reality, that was the first time I'd ever seen Luchasaurus get whooped up on.
Yeah, but it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
So it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but it's just one of them things you kind of see in all tag matches when you have the powerhouse of the tag teams do their little face-off.
So what would it be? You have the irresistible force versus the immovable object
versus the limitless Keith Lee.
Well, I was gonna say the irresistible force could be like maybe Keith or something. The immovable object being powerhousing. But then you got
the dinosaur.
Yeah, it's like the extinct object. Maybe.
Throw in the wild card.
I mean, he's not extinct. He's there. I mean,
dinosaurs are extinct though.
But not Luchasaurus.
He's like the Casino Man, or Casino Man, Encino Man.
Yes.
Think about that. Yeah, remake Encino Man, but with like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Encino Man mixed with Tarzan.
Yes.
From
Jurassic Park. The original concept for Jurassic Park 3, which is the hybrids.
But this match was really good. But the main event the feud that was built up the hardest for a month or so.
Bit, yeah.
I mean, I would say 2 months, but I think that might be a little much. For a while now, Dalton.
At 25 minutes and 40 seconds, it is the longest match on the card. The most predictable match on the card, just about.
Sadly.
And honestly, one of the most disappointing. Not the most, but like, it was kind of disappointing. Hangman Page, the champion going in, versus CM Punk, the champion coming out that should have never returned. I have my problems with CM Punk. I'll get to that. But CM Punk won after at least 2 botched springboard lariats.
Buckshots, yeah, and that was just absolutely.
Ass. It was ass.
Yes, it was pretty ass. Where he couldn't, he got over the top rope, but he couldn't really land on his feet, more of his ass. So there you go. And but this match, it was a okay match, but for it to be a world title match, it could have been so much better if it wasn't just a botch fest. It'd
been better if it was less predictable.
Yes, if it wasn't as predictable, it would be a lot better. And I also get, yes, Punk got injured partially through the match. Well, at least that's what I believe, is that was where he got injured. And there could have been a lot better moments. For it to be a world title match, I'd expect there to be bigger spots than what there were. And it was so predictable seeing when Hangman goes for the buckshot that he just gets caught into the GTS. There's, like, everyone sees that coming. It's terrible.
And just, yeah, the predictability. The nice part about it was, at least they put in there Hangman teasing to turn. Teasing to grab that title and hit Punk over the head.
Yeah.
Only to have the realization, no, he's not going to do that, and throws it away. Where Punk should have been the heel in the match.
I agree with that. Like, when the ref got knocked down and Hangman was sitting there staring at the belt, that I feel like was basically the turning point. Well, it wasn't really a turning point, but it was the key part in the match that showed that Hangman, in my opinion, was just outright he was going to lose because he sat there debating too long.
He got too distracted.
Just staring at the title, and then he just decided to drop it. And the weird part is, they try to, in this feud, you don't know who the face and heel is, because they both, in their promos, had face and heel moments. And it's just so confusing to see what we're going to have to come to with, now that Punk's injured and dropping the title, what we're going to have happen with that situation.
Which is probably also going to be predictable because of
Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door, seeing that Mox is apparently the chosen one. He's going to be the one that's going to be... He's going to win. I mean, we all know he's going to win the match after the fact. He's going to be the one that goes against Tanahashi. We already know. It's kind of predictable at this point. It's kind of sad, but it's also kind of predictable. But then... Even without, Punk winning, losing, or having to drop the title, all of this, the one thing that happened after this pay-per-view that has just turned everyone upside down. You don't know what's going to go on. You don't know what's going to happen next. It's like a car accident. You can't look away. Is MJF all that he's done a work? Everything that's happened, the shoot that he did... the work shoot on Dynamite where he called Tony Khan an effing mark and said fire me, would you give me more if I was an ex-WWE guy?
Yeah, he took as many shots. I think at this point it was kind of more than a pipe bomb. It was more a nuke, because the wrestling world has kind of gone crazy over this whole situation. And in my opinion, this has the potential to be the biggest work in wrestling history.
Oh, yeah.
MJF is just so great at playing his character. And
it's not a character at this point, it's him.
Yeah, he is stuck in his character. And he... At meet and greets, he's just absolute ass to everybody, and I think it's great. He's so good at it, and he knows how to keep the people guessing, because you never know what's going to happen, especially right now. Like, AEW just took MJF off the roster, off the shop. You don't know what's coming. But with this whole promo, he took so many shots at WWE. Everyone's going to be speculating, oh, what if he goes to WWE? This is not going to happen.
Not right now.
Yeah.
If it happens.
And as big as MJF is, his contract isn't up until 2024. Therefore, and I don't see Tony Khan, not a chance, letting him go. And I feel like Tony had a hard enough choice in letting Cody leave and going back to WWE. So, this is just going to be potentially a turning point in MJF's career. This could absolutely skyrocket him.
Or absolutely just send him crashing.
Yeah, it could either skyrocket him to stardom, or he can just crash land off all of this. Because there's rumors that promo went wrong, and there's rumors that promo went absolutely great. I personally think it went great. But
if what they were trying to go for is the uncertainty of the legitimacy of everything, if it's a work, if it's a shoot, if it's a work that turned into a shoot that turned into a work, whatever it is, they're wanting you to think. They're wanting you to like tune in, see if it's gonna happen next or whatever. Like, keep updated. So the only bad thing about it is it out of poor taste if this is a work? If none of this is real, if it's just, like fabricated everything, is it in poor taste because of the Sasha Banks and Naomi situation? Where they legitimately walked out.
Yeah.
If this is all just a ruse, because apparently none of the guys in the back know if it's a worker or not. Apparently some higher ups don't know if this is a work or not. And, I don't even know if Tony Khan knows if this is a work or not at this point. We're doing what they want. If it is, we're talking about it. So
I don't think Tony Khan knows what reality is, like, at all.
Tony Khan, that man, I swear.
He
might have had a mega pint.
Oh, wow.
Mega bump. I don't know who takes bigger bumps, Jeff Hardy or Tony Khan.
Whew.
This is gonna be a doozy.
But I thought that this promo was excellent. I thought
probably
it was
better than
it was
Punk's
probably
pipe
one
bomb,
of the
to be honest.
best. One of I don't know, man. The Punk pipe bomb was great. You were saying, Chance?
Like, speaking of the Punk pipe bomb, I thought it brought a lot of similarities with the MJF pipe bomb.
Most definitely. There's a lot of similarities.
'Cause,
The fact that we're calling it a pipe bomb is enough to just say, yeah, this is very similar to Punk.
Also, after it went off the air and he got his mic cut, having Punk come chase him out of the ring, I thought that was
in a dark segment, yeah.
Yeah, in a dark segment. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's what makes me feel like this might be a work too, since they added or a shoot that turned into a work. Yeah. Why would you have Punk run out there if this was real and MJF run through the crowd, basically recreating the Punk leaving after he won the title at Money in the Bank 2011?
Yes.
Or Punk could have just been like, I'm stopping this right now.
Don't copy me.
Don't copy me. That's mine.
Copyright infringement.
But here's my thing also. Why would they have let him go out there and do it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's got to be a work.
Well, you're talking about Punk going out?
No. MJF.
Oh,
well, if this was a real thing and MJF is going to go off, why would you do it?
Maybe they
Especially if you didn't have the censor ready.
Maybe they thought, let's give this a try because of the Punk situation. Like, when he did it. Because when Punk did it... okay, so we all know that when Punk did the pipe bomb, he was told by Vince that to pretty much say whatever he wants. Here's a microphone. This is going to be great for storyline. And he let out all of his true anger
live on television to the point
Well, probably suppressed a little
to
bit.
the point they had to cut off the microphone before he went too far. This was the same thing. I'm not going to say it was a copy because it was very similar, but it also had its differences because they weren't. It's not that Punk was, when he was doing his pipe bomb, he didn't say necessarily anything about his pay, you know? I mean, it was WWE, he's probably getting paid pretty good. It was more of his spot. And MJF did touch on that. You know, it was more of his spot on the card. And the fact that he wasn't the top star, even though he is the number one, number two
money getter,
most minute to minute.
According to Dave Meltzer, especially on Dynamite, he was the highest minute to minute draw for AEW Dynamite.
Exactly.
He normally is because of his character.
Yeah.
From the recent his pipe bomb, he was the highest minute to minute draw of AEW Dynamite.
Well, that, and I will say his past promos have gotten him so great ratings with the CM Punk feud, with even when it was with Darby Allin, the Wardlow, all this has just, it's been the biggest storylines just because he knows how to get the crowd going. And if I was Tony Khan at this point, I would have a blank check written in the back for whenever he comes backstage. I'd pay the man whatever he wants because you cannot tell me.
But at that point, does it not turn into a WWF situation with both Jeff Jarrett and Ultimate Warrior? If you hold the boss hostage and say, I'm not going to do anything you want me to do unless I get paid for it. It, like I said, happened to Warrior. It happened to Jeff Jarrett to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
But, like, it's one of those things where, do you pay him? Like, do you do what you say? Do you do what he wants? He's not threatened really to do anything except for, if he really wants to be fired, if he's really not going to show up and do what you want.
He'd get himself fired. But my thing is, there is no one else in AEW that can work the mic like MJF. Like, yeah, okay, Punk's pretty good at working the mic. But no one gets the crowd going or pisses off the crowd as much as MJF does. And, like, they talk about the 4 pillars of AEW, and that was, like, the new 4 pillars they considered to be Sammy Guevara, MJF, Darby Allin, and I think it was Britt Baker. Jungle Boy. Well, they tried to make Britt the women's pillar, but yes. But Jungle Boy can't get anyone over on the mic. Sammy Guevara, everyone hates him. Darby, he's okay on the mic. But his promos are just kind of,
character is not likable.
They're bland. All of his matches are pretty bland.
Here's what he is. Oh, I'm grungy.
I'm a ragdoll myself.
I'm a skateboarder.
Yeah.
I have tattoos like me.
Yeah. Yeah, and
he's
then
grunge. And grunge is dead.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, but the only other considered pillar that can work the mic good is Britt Baker, and she's in the women's division, and she kind of can't really do too.
Sadly, probably the only highlight of the women's division, because AEW, it might have a good women's division on paper.
Yes.
Put that to screen. One, they have a problem of not giving them TV time, just like WWE.
Yeah.
But you also don't, like, yeah, that might be good wrestlers. They're not charismatic. Half of them aren't good on the mic. Well, I'd say that. I don't watch it, and you'd have to attest to that. But
yeah. It's pretty valid that a lot of these women wrestlers nowadays just don't get really mic time. They just get kind of thrown together matches.
Get match time.
Yeah, they get thrown together matches the day of the event, and it's kind of dead-end matches, no storyline, underwhelming.
It's kind of pushing back the whole, like, women's revolution in WWE. It's kind of, like, give them a chance. It's kind of pushing that back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You have, like, companies like WoW, but it's really the only company you got that's got a women's division that's, like, a pure women's division that could be good. Impact apparently has a great women's division. I don't think any of us watch Impact.
I haven't watched Impact in a long time.
See? That, honestly, that's going to be an episode of the podcast, like, either the history of TNA or the rise, fall, and steady incline of Impact.
I think
it's been a rough ride, kind of like this pay-per-view.
I think the only good thing the women's Impact division really has is Jordan Grace. That's as far as I know. I don't watch, so I can't attest for much.
They had the inspiration. The inspiration left. I mean, you have the former Emma. I forget her. Is it just like Danielle
Tashwood or something like that?
I didn't want to say it wrong. I just said it earlier today because we were talking about it.
It's actually, I think it's the opposite.
Oh, it's Tennille Dashwood.
Yeah,
it's Tennille Dashwood. Yeah.
Wow.
See, I'm stupid. But you have them. You have Jordan Grace.
Taya
You had
Valkyrie.
Brooke Hogan, but she jumped ship to AEW.
Yeah, now she's Kiera Hogan.
You still have Sue Young, Susie. Well, she's pregnant now, so she's not really on TV.
Isn't Taya Valkyrie in
Taya Valkyrie came back.
Yeah.
You had Tessa Blanchard, but good riddance.
Who's that just signed from AEW? That
Did they sign somebody?
Impact just signed some female wrestler from AEW or from WWE.
Oh, from WWE.
Yeah, from WWE. It was a.
Well, they have Chelsea Green. That's not her, but they have Chelsea Green. You have
Mia Yim.
Mia Yim.
Mia Yim's back. That's
who I'm talking about.
That's a good one. That's a good signing. There's other women that I just can't think of. Brooke Adams is there, but she's in the tag division. No, it's not. It's Madison Rain. Brooke Adams isn't there anymore. I don't think.
I don't think she
is still in Impact.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Yeah,
Lord.
Madison Rain came back. She's married to Josh Matthews.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Brooke Tessmacher. She hasn't wrestled in a while.
I couldn't
She
remember.
does wrestling
I
stuff. I think she has.
does shows.
I think she actually has a podcast with
Is that the
Christy Hemme and
Wives of Wrestling?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I think it's Maria, Christy Hemme, and
Mickey,
her.
right?
But
Mickey's on
maybe?
Impact.
Oh yeah, she is.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's been in NWA for a minute, but she was on Impact.
Yeah, how we
I don't know if
forget
she's
that after
still
the
there.
Rumble.
Oh yeah.
Deonna Purrazzo,
yes.
which is a hit or miss.
Is
There was just
Kylie Ray still there, or did she leave and
she's
go
hit
to
or miss
NWA?
too. I don't think she's. I don't know. Smiley Kylie Ray.
I don't know. She was there last time I
was.
remember, but
But we went on a tangent. But AEW has the women. They have the star power. They don't have the time of day, and that's one of their hardest things. Also, that's why I don't think they should introduce a women's tag title. It'll be the same thing as WWE. They've basically scrapped that title.
Yeah, especially after the walkout of Sasha and Naomi. So.
Yeah, and here's the thing: you don't have that many women's teams. I mean,
You had TJ with Anna Jay and Ty Conti, but
that's kind of dead in the water.
That's dead now that Ty and Sammy are together.
I think Nyla Rose was someone.
Nyla Rose.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then the only real I guess women's tag you can say that still exists.
Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Because that's
and
got
Rebel. But then you also have newly Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan with Jade Cargill.
Well, and then now you got I guess Anna Jay and Chris Statlander almost.
Yeah.
Throw Athena in there.
Athena, something like that. But
That's
there's
trios.
Yeah, but there's not enough tag teams to keep that division
running. Like WWE, there's enough women, sort of, not really, but not teams that work together.
The thing is with a tag division is that it's okay to throw singles competitors together
if they work.
Well, if they work, but if you already have tag teams that are tag teams, it's okay to have RK Bro
and then throw together
if you have the Usos, if you have Alpha Academy, if you have people that are tag teams, then it's okay to throw a couple singles competitors together.
Like in AEW with Swerve Scott and Keith Lee.
I was still kind of mad about that. It's like, man, you just Swerve. Just say Swerve.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You have Keith Lee, you bring him in, and then you immediately have him taking clean losses in tag matches and just throw them together. Which, yes, they are over, and they could be a legit tag team if they give them the time of day, if they do.
Yes.
But, it's just still thrown together. And that's what AEW, the problem I have, even then, they criticize WWE. And then they do the exact same as WWE.
Copy them.
They're doing the exact same as WCW was doing. They're signing too many WWE guys too early, to be honest, and not having enough time of day to do anything. they had to make another show just to try to compete with a WWE show.
Rampage.
Even though Rampage doesn't really count.
Rampage at this point.
But apparently Tony Khan said he won the Friday Night War.
He won it once when Punk debuted.
But that was that not also after WWE went off air? Or was that at like a special start time?
No, that was at 10 o'clock.
It was at 10 o'clock, so SmackDown.
Ooh, I won the 10 o'clock war when the opposition went to sleep.
Yeah.
Kiss my ass at that point. Getting happy, saying, "Oh, I met Dana White and had a chat with him and my dad, and broke the news to them that WWE is moving to MGM,
which is still a huge arena."
You couldn't sell at MGM. Well, you might, but you haven't sold at MGM. I don't see you doing it, talking all this crap. He's jumping around like a kid that you just gave a bunch of sweets to. He can't hold his excitement. He just got a new video game. He just kissed a girl. That's what he's jumping around like. He's like a crazy teenager. I mean, come on. He's a man-child at this point.
Running off of daddy's money.
Yeah, he is 10 times Eric Bischoff, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
He is Eric Bischoff times 10, where he's already too much of the front runner. He's already too much involved in it. Like, he should have stayed in the back and just kept silent about it. But no, he's got to be the front man and everything. He's basically, like I said, he's Bischoff. Mixed with Ted Turner at this point. Which is a horrible thing.
But even though we went on our big tangent, but you know, it was good to talk about Impact and all of that. You know, just kind of spread the word of what we were talking about.
Yeah, the tangents made a point.
Yeah,
though.
they made a point.
Especially with me going off about, I could go off about Tony Khan all day, but like the fact is, you can't run your show tightly enough with your women, with one of your superstars. You're going to be giving in. If you give in, that shows you're not better than... You can't keep it in. It shows you're not better than Vince McMahon because he gave in. Then again, he kind of released Warrior not too long after. But Jarrett left, so...
But one thing that we're kind of moving forward towards is obviously the MJF thing was the biggest thing that happened this week when it comes to people talking. But another big thing that happened was this was recorded the night after Rampage, and CM Punk got injured. We don't know if it was his Double or Nothing match or if it was his Dynamite match on Wednesday, but...
as we were talking about earlier, it probably was the Double or Nothing match.
Yeah,
it's sloppy.
Yeah, he injured himself and has
apparently
to get
broke
surgery.
His foot. Apparently broke something in his foot. Yeah, needs surgery.
And so now going towards the Forbidden Door pay-per-view...
Such a stupid name.
We are left with no
true champion. You have a placeholder.
So we had a kind of lackluster pay-per-view, a guy who hates the company apparently, and then a guy who has to give up the belt.
A glorified part-timer as your champion. He's not stripped of it, by the way. That was a major thing. He's not stripped of it.
But he's not a reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
He's basically a pandemic champion in the UK.
Yeah.
You can't defend it, but you're not technically... You don't lose it.
It's going to be like Cody when he dropped the TNT title because he had COVID.
Yeah.
They're going to give Sammy like when they gave Sammy the TNT title and then they just had him fight over it again. They're going to do the same thing with Punk. I can just see it coming. They're going to have an interim champion. He's going to hold the title. Punk's going to come back. They're going to drop it back to Punk instantly.
But what if he wasn't injured? What if this is a work?
Why did
he was
before
walking.
We were I mentioned that before we were recording was maybe this is a work and that they are trying their best to just do works for this week.
Oh, that would be insane. What if you had so the match to determine AEW's side, that's at least what's perceived. So there's going to be a battle royal on Dynamite. The winner of said battle royal in the main event of Dynamite will face Jon Moxley. They will be AEW's number one contender to New Japan's number one contender, which either is going to be Hiroshi Tanahashi, or Gato.
I can't remember who he's wrestling, but
I think it's Gato or Gato, whatever.
It
how
is a
you
wrestler from New
pronounce it.
Japan, of course.
It's obviously going to be Tanahashi because he was supposed to go against Punk anyway. So you're either going to have the likely choice Mox, or what if they do have Wardlow? No, he's going to be in a singles match, is he not? So he's not even going to be in the, or is he?
I don't think he has a match booked for this coming week.
He might not, but say he doesn't. You book Wardlow in the match in the Battle Royal. You have him win. You have him beat Mox, beat Tanahashi. Say it was a work. Punk comes out, destroys Wardlow, and eventually retains the title. How much heat would that get?
A lot.
Because he's the top guy, basically, right now. So...
Well, one thing about the Wardlow situation right now, how... This is just another thing. Tony Khan is just... He's just coming off potentially one of the biggest matches of his career. No, it's not a big match, but it's considered to be a big match for him. And he goes into Dynamite this week and goes up against a guy from our hometown, J.D. Drake, and absolutely smushes him.
Poor J.D. Drake.
Yeah,
like, good on him for being in AEW, being in a big company, but God, I wish they would... Alright, so WrestleCade is a big thing here in the Carolinas, in the South. It's a big, wrestling convention. He had a match against a guy named Bojack. He is a big, tough dude. They were both big, tough dudes. They had a banger of a match, a true JR-style slobber knocker.
It was good.
It was
really good. He's right.
But then you have him as part of, what was it, the Wingmen?
The Wingmen with Pete Avalon, Ryan Nemeth, and some other guy. I don't even know. It's so bad. But
he just jobbed out to somebody too, didn't he? On a dark or not dark, but a Rampage.
Yeah, they jobbed out to. It was one of the tag teams on Dark the other night. It was terrible.
He had some kind of one-on-one match too with somebody that he pretty much just jobbed out to him. Like it was like a week or two ago. I think it was on Rampage. I don't really remember, but like absolute talent jobbing out. But to Wardlow, it kind of makes sense, and JD Drake is kind of he's a veteran, more or less. Not AEW veteran, but he's been on the scene for a while, I think, at this point, so.
Yeah, but on the Wardlow situation, I don't understand why they're going from giving him the biggest match of his career just to throwing him back in squash matches. Put him in an established match against a proper opponent and watch him succeed instead of just giving him these gimme matches, which are
That's why I think if they do go through with this, if this is the way to go forward, you have Wardlow win the Battle Royal, you have Mox put him over, because Mox probably will gladly put Wardlow over.
I feel like he would, because Mox understands that Wardlow is top of the chain.
He's the
right
face. Adam Page was the face of AEW, and then everybody kind of turned their backs on him.
After a lackluster reign. So
to no fault of his own.
Yeah.
Really. But I feel like Wardlow, he's the face of AEW at this point. Even if slow build up, quick build up, I feel like the best thing you have to make it less predictable, you don't have Mox win, you have Wardlow. Beat Mox, win the Battle Royal, beat Tanahashi. How would that be? You can say that you beat so many people in a Battle Royal, you beat Jon Moxley, and you beat Hiroshi Tanahashi.
That's like storybook right there.
That's on board with saying you just beat Kazuchika Okada.
And then another thing that
back to back.
If say Punk is actually injured, just think about it. If Wardlow could win this title
and then have a hefty reign,
I'd say have a good reign.
At least a good 3 to 4 month reign if Punk has to recover.
Yeah. And then imagine MJF versus Wardlow in a actual banging match for the title. Yeah, Wardlow. I wouldn't really care who won that match, to be honest, because I think both of them could be.
If they could have a true match.
Yeah, have a true match instead of a squash match. Both of them could be absolutely great champions and help AEW improve the product.
And help each other, probably, to be honest.
Yes, agreed.
Instead of just not even putting one over, but kind of hurting both.
Yes.
At that point. Because it does make... That is the second straight loss, pay-per-view loss, MJF had.
Yeah.
Both caused by Wardlow. So, funny enough...
Is it his second or third straight pay-per-view loss?
One-on-one, it's the second, I'm pretty sure.
Because
Punk. But I don't think he's lost on pay-per-view.
At Full Gear, he went against...
Who did he go against? Because I wouldn't know.
Was it Punk again? No, because...
No, I think they're... No. MJF beat Punk once.
Yeah. I'm going to look that up real quick. The Full Gear card... Because I know MJF had a match on it. Because he had one of the biggest matches.
I could have sworn it's only been the second loss for him. Well, true loss, I guess. Because he hadn't been pinned until Punk, right? Or not Punk, but... No, yeah, Punk. He hadn't been pinned till Punk or something. He lost matches, but not like...
It wasn't Punk, because Punk went up against Kingston. Oh, it was against Darby Allin. No, yeah.
He lost against Darby?
No, he won against Darby. He won against Darby.
Say.
But, yeah, you gotta get MJF back on some type of winning streak to prove that he's the best that he says he is.
If they keep him.
Well,
or shelve him.
Yeah.
They'll probably shelve him. If this is real, they'll probably shelve him.
If it was
they'll
real,
pull
they'll
an
shelve
Ali and just put him on the shelf until... Or a Pac, really. Back when he was in WWE.
Yeah.
Because he walked out. Moral of the story, don't walk out. Unless you're, like, absolutely being treated garbage. By everybody. I mean, you're just making the argument that you're not making enough, which is a fair argument.
Yeah,
but you still don't. You still try to do everything you can and not walk out.
Yeah, like, I don't think Toni Storm should have walked out the way she did at WWE. That was kind of.
That was random.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is there was really no reasoning behind this walkout. Like, if she didn't get TV time, okay, cool, but she was starting to get good TV time.
Jeff too, he randomly walked out. So
Jeff's walkout was just so he can go to AEW with Matt, in my opinion. No, nothing else between it.
No, but that'd be a good episode too, Clint. If you want to do that in the future, sometime, like not ranking, definitely discussing the walkouts, because there have been a lot of walkouts recently.
Yeah,
and attempted walkouts.
Yeah, attempted walkouts, actual walkouts, effective walkouts, even in the last couple of years. And the fact that it's probably past now when Stone Cold walked out for the last time, so... Overall, this has not really been a good week in one way for AEW.
I mean, some fans would probably think it was a really awesome week other than...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In some eyes,
some people love Double
good.
or Nothing, so I don't know. I guess
we have Double or Nothing.
We might be in the lower,
We're in the minority in that situation, probably. Because I've seen so many people say that this is such a great pay-per-view, this and that.
But, I mean, in my opinion... 5-star
pay-per-view, almost.
In my opinion, and I guess y'all's as well, this wasn't... Revolution was better. Much better.
I wish I could say it was. I think I was doing schoolwork, so I wouldn't really pay attention.
It was good. I
just
enjoyed
like
it.
GCW. GCW was hot garbage.
That is your... That's
my boy Joey Janela.
No!
That is your solely...
Before we even finish, don't cut me off. Let me finish. This pay-per-view was hot garbage on par with GCW on... Like, the world on GCW.
Hammerstein.
Because...
I enjoyed that, so...
I did too. It was funny.
No, that pay-per-view... One, there was a horrible, car crash of a match, the ladder match. Just like the...
That was Botchamania, just a single episode on its own.
Just like the Anarchy in the Asylum match. You had a lackluster main event on GCW, which made no sense whatsoever.
It was thrown together because they ran out of time, pay-per-view time, and so they had Nick Gage...
Shouldn't have done it like that anyway.
Yeah, that match was just terrible, and that could have been a fantastic match because everyone was wanting to see it.
Exactly.
But they ran out of time and just killed the match so fast for no reason.
You had a Ruby Soho match which to some could be considered lackluster. You had Mox and Not really the great. I mean, I think GCW is probably his better match out of between Double or Nothing and that.
You had Joey Janela versus Matt Cardona,
which went on too long, just like the car wreck of the match.
with the 19,000 run-ins with X-Pac, Virgil,
Hornswoggle,
Brian Myers, Chelsea Green, that one big dude that did the moonsault onto Hornswoggle.
And not to mention, honestly, you could view that as the same as a Jay Cargill match because there was a run-in on that. A handful of run-ins. After the match, yes, but still.
The match
was botches. There's a few botches in both. Both of them, honest to God, GCW was worse in my opinion, but at least this one had some, shining pieces in the...
It's bad to say. I think the best match on that GCW card was an impromptu match that Jonathan Gresham didn't show up to when it was Blake Christian versus Leo Rush.
And he was working with Leo Rush, so...
Yeah,
at least he wasn't working with Austin Aries.
Yeah, Austin Aries.
But, like, it's just... Whichever way you view it, it wasn't good, or it was great. Diehard AEW fans would say it's great, but we have a diehard AEW fan here who said it was garbage.
It is.
So
trash.
it's all, I guess, a matter of opinion. This is all of our opinion. Well, more or less. Chance hasn't really said anything. I mean, Chance has put his input in, which is fair. For someone who doesn't really keep up with it, he has seen the MJF pipe bomb, so he, gave his input, which was nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess, that was a good, talk about Double or Nothing, and I guess the week of wrestling that we've had with AEW. We brought a little bit up about other promotions and what's going on with them.
Yeah, it was a good Double or Nothing fallout in the MJF situation. So
yes, so that's good. It's been quite a while since we've done an episode here on the Wrestling Podcast, so I'm glad we were able to kind of throw a lot in together and be able to just talk about it. And I hope we're able to do this soon. And just do more of this and kind of just be more consistent of what's going on with the wrestling world. And maybe even talk about some of the stuff that happened in the past and give our opinions on some of it. I know me and Don have talked about some projects we wanted to do. Not going to really get too much into it.
I had mentioned, we could talk about Impact, we talk about the Fallout,
Absolutely.
Or the Walkout, so...
but we have things we're discussing, and hopefully here soon we can actually put it together, record it, and post it. But other than that, I think that concludes this episode. Thank you, Chance and Max, for joining us this episode. Hopefully we can get you guys back on and talk a little bit more about different things in the world of wrestling. But that concludes this episode. My name is Clinton. You can follow me on Instagram at ClintonWells2001 on Instagram.
I'm, of course, Dalton. You can follow me on Instagram at LADoBrand.
And you can follow our music engineer, Chance, on Instagram at chance.cummings.507.
And I'm Max. You can follow me on Instagram at Max Mooney.
You can follow the LADo Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at LADoWrestling_podcast. And you can follow our other podcast at LADo_podcast. But other than that, thank you very much, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.